Now here's the part most men run from. Discipline demands ownership. It doesn't care about your excuses, your past failures, or how tired you feel. Every choice you make, every action you take or don't take, cements your future. You cannot delegate discipline. You cannot borrow it. You cannot cheat it. The world doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards the man who shows up, the man who endures, the man who decides that no matter how hard, no matter how lonely, he will act with integrity and purpose. Every day, the disciplined man faces the same decision. Will he be comfortable or will he be consistent? And the answer, the one that separates men who achieve from men who merely dream, is consistency. Because dreams without follow-through are fantasies. Action without discipline is chaos. And only discipline creates momentum strong enough to turn your vision into reality. Let me break it down for you even further. Discipline is not just about routines, workouts, deadlines, or work. Discipline is about controlling the inner dialogue that tells you to quit. It's about taming the voice of doubt, the seduction of procrastination, and the illusion that instant gratification matters more than long-term results. The disciplined man rises before sunrise, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. He practices his craft when no one is watching, studies when others are distracted, and pushes when others pause. He understands that talent is wasted without preparation, that intelligence is meaningless without application, and that courage is tested most when everything inside screams to stop. Discipline makes the invisible visible. It turns effort into excellence, intention into impact, and potential into power. Here's a truth that will change the way you see your life. Discipline doesn't merely build a stronger body or a sharper mind. It builds character, it builds legacy, it builds respect. The kind that doesn't fade with applause or popularity. It forces you to look in the mirror and answer honestly. Who are you? Who do you want to become? Every habit you refuse, every temptation you resist, every difficult decision you make adds a layer of confidence that no one can take away. And when life pushes back harder than ever, it is discipline that steadies the man who refuses to bend. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. It demands work, patience, and perseverance. And while the journey is difficult, the man who masters discipline walks taller, speaks with authority, and moves through life with a power that commands respect without asking for it. Disclaimer. This video and its content are fully AI generated. It is not affiliated with, endorsed by, or related in any way to Denzel Washington. The voiceovers, visuals, and scripts are generated using artificial intelligence, and any resemblance to real-life individuals is purely coincidental. This content is intended for motivational and entertainment purposes only. So here's what I want you to do next. Commit. Commit to yourself, commit to your growth, commit to showing up when it's hard. And while you're at it, make sure you hit that like button if this message hit home. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss the next Denzel-style motivational video. Because the next lesson, the next breakthrough, the next spark that changes your life could be just one click away. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Don't let tomorrow steal the man you could become today. Discipline is waiting. Are you ready to answer the call? Now listen closely, because this is where discipline stops being a concept and starts becoming a mirror. Discipline doesn't just test your work ethic, it tests your patience, your pride, and your ego. It forces you to confront the gap between who you say you are and what you do every single day. Most men love the image of being disciplined, but they hate the reality of it. The reality is waking up when your body begs for more sleep. The reality is saying no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term respect. The reality is grinding in silence while others celebrate too early. Discipline strips away the fantasy and leaves you face to face with effort. And effort, repeated daily, is where most men quietly give up. Here's the mistake many men make. They think discipline is about intensity. They believe if they go all in for a week, a month, or a burst of energy, that it counts. But discipline is not about how hard you go, it's about how long you last. Anyone can sprint. Very few can stay steady. Discipline is about showing up on ordinary days with ordinary energy and still doing the work like it matters. Because it does. The The disciplined man understands that greatness is built in boring moments, in routines that don't impress anyone, in habits that don't get applause. While others chase dramatic change, discipline focuses on daily alignment. You see, discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. You don't wake up one day suddenly disciplined. You earn it through repetition. You earn it by doing what you said you would do even when there is no immediate reward. That's how trust with yourself is built. And self-trust is dangerous in the best way possible. A man who trusts himself doesn't hesitate. He doesn't overthink. He doesn't wait for permission. He moves. He executes. He adapts. And that confidence, that quiet certainty, comes from discipline kept over time. Most men sabotage discipline because they demand perfection. They miss one day and decide they failed. They slip once and call themselves weak. That's not discipline talking, that's ego. Discipline isn't fragile. It doesn't collapse because of a mistake. It adjusts and continues. The disciplined man doesn't dramatize setbacks. He doesn't turn errors into excuses. He corrects course and keeps moving. Momentum matters more than mood. Direction matters more than speed. And discipline keeps you pointed forward even when life pushes back. Another hard truth. Discipline requires sacrifice, and sacrifice reveals priorities. You cannot discipline everything. You must choose. Time, energy, focus, all of it is limited. The disciplined man chooses growth over comfort, progress over popularity, respect over validation. He understands that saying yes to everything means mastering nothing. Discipline forces clarity. It forces you to decide what matters and what doesn't. And once that decision is made, distractions lose their power. Temptation weakens when purpose is clear. Look around and you'll see it everywhere. Men with massive potential trapped in cycles of inconsistency. Men who start strong but fade when resistance appears. Men who wait for motivation to save them instead of building discipline to sustain them. Discipline doesn't rescue you. It rebuilds you. Piece by piece, habit by habit, decision by decision. It teaches you to lead yourself before you try to lead anyone else. And leadership over self is the hardest leadership there is. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that progress is earned, not gifted. That results come from work done when no one is clapping. It humbles you by showing you how much you still have to improve, while empowering you by proving that improvement is possible. Discipline doesn't promise ease. It promises control. Control over impulses, control over reactions, control over the direction of your life. And in a world full of noise and chaos, that control is priceless. If you're honest, the life you want doesn't require more motivation. It requires fewer excuses. It requires structure. It requires standards. It requires discipline applied when it's inconvenient. Not someday, not next week, now. Discipline doesn't wait for confidence. It creates it. It doesn't wait for clarity. It builds it. And the moment you stop negotiating with yourself is the moment everything starts to change. Because discipline isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally committing to the man you already know you're capable of being. Stop scrolling. This isn't motivation. Motivation fails you every morning. If motivation worked, your life would already look different. The real problem isn't effort. It's structure. You wake up with no control over your next 24 hours. So emotions decide everything for you. Disciplined people don't feel ready. They follow a system when feelings disappear. In the next minute, I'll show you the exact shift that turns discipline from willpower into something automatic. Don't blink. This is where most people lose. Let me tell you something most men don't want to hear because the truth doesn't whisper, it hits you straight in the chest. The reason you're stuck is not bad luck, not lack of talent, not where you were born, and not who ignored you. The reason is simple, and it's uncomfortable. You never mastered discipline. You had motivation. Sure, you had excitement. You had moments where you felt unstoppable. But discipline didn't move in with you. Discipline didn't become your lifestyle. And that's why years later, you're still talking about what you will do instead of living in what you have done. Discipline is the skill that separates potential from reality. Everybody wants the reward, but very few are willing to respect the process. Everybody wants confidence, but confidence is built when you keep promises to yourself, especially on days you don't feel like it. Discipline is not loud, it doesn't post quotes, it doesn't need applause. Discipline shows up early, stays late, and leaves quietly while everyone else is still dreaming about tomorrow. Most men fail here because discipline asks for something brutal. Consistency without emotion. See, motivation is emotional. Discipline is logical. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on who you decide to be. When you wake up tired, discipline doesn't ask for excuses. When no one is watching, discipline doesn't negotiate. When progress is slow and results are invisible, discipline says keep going anyway. And this is where most men break. They want discipline to feel good. They want discipline to feel rewarding. But discipline feels boring. It feels repetitive. It feels lonely. And that's exactly why it works. Because while everyone else quits when the excitement fades, the disciplined man keeps moving when there is nothing left but commitment. Understand this clearly. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every time you choose the hard task over the easy escape, you're telling yourself that your future matters more than your comfort. Every time you train when you're tired, work when you're uninspired, and stay focused when distractions scream your name, you're building an identity. An identity is everything. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And discipline is the system. Without it, goals are just fantasies, dressed up as plans. With it, even small actions compound into something unstoppable. Here's another truth most men avoid. Discipline exposes who you really are. When no one is forcing you, when no deadline is breathing down your neck, when there's no reward in sight, that's when your character shows up. And many men don't like what they see. They see comfort addiction. They see inconsistency. They see a habit of starting strong and finishing weak. But instead of fixing it, they distract themselves. They scroll. They complain. They blame the world. Discipline demands accountability, and accountability is heavy. It removes your favorite excuse. I tried. Discipline doesn't care that you tried. It only cares that you showed up again. Think about this. Talent without discipline is a liability. Intelligence without discipline becomes arrogance. Strength without discipline becomes chaos. Ambition without discipline turns into frustration. Discipline gives structure to power. It gives direction to energy. It turns effort into progress. And yet, most men treat discipline like a temporary tool instead of a permanent lifestyle. They want it for a month, for a challenge, for a transformation phase. But discipline doesn't work on trial periods. It works when it becomes non-negotiable, when it becomes part of how you live, breathe, and decide. The disciplined man doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He adapts, he adjusts, he moves forward anyway. He understands that life will never slow down for him to catch up. He understands that excuses are expensive and he can't afford them anymore. Discipline sharpens focus. It silences noise. It simplifies decisions. You don't waste time debating what to do because you already decided who you are. And once identity is locked in, behavior follows. That's the real power of discipline. It removes internal conflict. It aligns your actions with your standards. Right now, ask yourself honestly, how many opportunities did you lose? Not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't consistent. How many versions of yourself did you abandon because discipline felt too demanding? The uncomfortable answer is where growth begins. Discipline doesn't change your life overnight. It changes your direction, and direction changes everything. One disciplined decision repeated daily can rewrite your entire future. And the men who understand this early don't talk much. They're too busy building a life that doesn't need excuses.